Do you think there's a chance that one of the members of the Shield betrays their co-members, I guess, in favor of Evolution?
I don't know if that would be plausible because they got the crap beat out of all of them. If Dean Ambrose would have gone MIA, like what happened with the Shield versus the Wyatt family, which they did not elaborate on, but I'll forgive him for that. If he would have left or somebody else, then it would make sense. But they all got the crap beat out of them, so it wouldn't really make sense for them to join unless it were something along the lines of, well, even Daniel Bryan and joining the Wyatt family, that didn't make much sense either. So
it made sense in that situation. It made sense, and
they gave up on it within 2 weeks.
And it worked out amazingly well.
He was already over.
And he got more over.
Bam.
But I mean, speaking of Daniel Bryan, like, do you reckon this will lead into like any of the title picture or anything? Like, do you reckon like the Shield maybe go for the title? Like, I don't know. Do you reckon this would just go into the title picture at all? Like this feud?
Hey, who the hell knows? But the fact that we're sitting here contemplating on the next step to take in this feud, it just shows, like I was talking about, those limitless possibilities. And it's great that the Shield is like a top-tier talent. They're a top-tier unit in WWE right now. Watching Raw and just seeing them promote over and over again. The main event of Monday Night Raw is going to be the Shield versus who the hell ever. They sold the main event on the Shield alone. And I thought that was awesome.
I will hand Triple H the shovel. I will help Manny with the shovel if we get Flair to come out there and bleed just one time. Just one time for old time's sake.
Come out and bleed? Do you want him to die?
No, I don't want him to die, man. I just want to see him get flopped all around the air. What's that move they always do? The back body drop. They always did that move to him. Just come out.
That's why you have
beat the crap
but
out
see
of
that's why you have the WWE Network, so you can go back and watch that stuff. I don't need to see that shit anymore. Just have him come out. Just have him come out and be Flair.
Woo! But yeah, back to the point of one of the members of the Shield turning on their brothers and joining Evolution. That could be the answer to what you all were talking about, looking for this younger member to join Evolution. They could be that representation of the future. But the funny thing,
he'd look like the biggest person in the world.
David, you continue to bring that up in every single instance that you can, as if the shit hasn't happened a million times in wrestling.
That doesn't make it any better.
No, because you don't understand. It could simply be the situation of, and we're not saying that this is going to happen, but if it were to happen, there are reasons behind it happening, because a person could sit there and say, hey, well, this is where the power is. This is literally the authority. They have all of the power. How the hell am I going to side with these guys when I see my future in aligning with the COO of the company? Yeah, so like it's definitely possible.
Like, even in better years, you had, like, The Rock get his ass beat by the corporation before he eventually jumped ship and joined them at Survivor Series.
I think David complained about that, too, so...
Then who do we see turning, like, if someone's going to turn heel in the group, who do you see it being? Like, I don't see Roman Reigns. But...
That's the thing. It would have to be Roman Reigns, because he's the only guy that fits that cut that made Evolution so great. They were all...
Of all the people...
Sure. They were all like the star future main eventers.
Of all the people to look like a bitch, I would not want him to be the first. Let's just send Dean Ambrose out there. Sorry, I hate it had to be him, but
I mean, unless they did the whole Roman Reigns joins, he then turns face down the line and turns on Evolution. I mean, they could do that, but that's
they did that already.
That's what I'm saying. That's just redoing things.
I don't feel I don't even think that fits the narrative, because if you remember, he was crawling to Triple H, doing his best to try to get one more punch in. I don't think that it's in his personality to take somebody out on the inside, something intelligent like that. That just thinks he wants to get rid of them by brute force, and he won't want to quit. I don't think that him conceding to the enemy would make sense. Not for his character. That seems like something Dean Ambrose would do.
So basically, you just called him dumb. He's a caveman.
I didn't say it. I mean, you did, so.
Something I wanted to talk about also as relating to this whole storyline. I don't know if it's just me, but every single week I'm getting the sense that Randy Orton and Batista are kind of like drones, robots, and the way that they talk and the way that they move. It's weird. Like I said on last week's show, I'm not one to believe that Randy Orton is irrelevant and he has no redeeming quality. Shit, I've said before, when Randy Orton is at his best, he is the best. Point blank. Then Batista, he can be entertaining in certain situations. I'm hoping as this thing rolls on to see more of a blossoming of their personas. Because one of the reasons why Evolution was so great initially is because they all had their own individual personalities, their own individual characters, their own individual motivations and things like that. So I would like to see, maybe this is just like a reset period for Randy Orton and Batista because people were so fucking tired of them heading into WrestleMania. And maybe over the next few weeks, we'll see that evolution of their characters.
And see, they should get the opportunity to, if I could say, evolve their characters somewhat, because this isn't the same. This isn't the same type of Evolution group that came together back in 2002, was it? Because back then you had Triple H, that was the main guy that brought these two youngsters in. This is more of a group that's formed out of necessity, out of we're going to come together to beat this common enemy. We're coming together for the greater good, for our own benefit. So they should get the opportunity to each bring some individual qualities, some of their, personality traits that they've picked up over the past few years, bring them into the fold this time to make for a more unique form of the faction.
Yeah, I think that's great because you really have to take into account that these guys are stars in and of themselves. Like, just look at Evolution as a whole. You have a collection of fucking amazing, out of this world star power. 31 world championships between just those three people, between Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista. 31 world championships there.
Triple H has like 2/3 of them.
A lot has happened over the last decade between these people as they move their separate ways and things like that. And the fact that the Shield is being involved with them, the fact that three people who have won collectively 31 world championships, they're like, okay, we got to get rid of these dudes. Like, we have to put our shit on hold and we have to deal with them. That is an amazing endorsement of the Shield.
Point of order. 31 world titles sounds a lot better than it actually is when you had the majority of those titles coming in the two title system. So
I mean, it's weird seeing like they have to join together to stop this enemy. Like, that seems like something faces would do, not so much heels. Like, it's weird thinking about that.
Good.
Like, I know it's different. That's why I like it. But I'm saying it's just weird. Like, they have to join together to stop this enemy, even though they are the good guys.
And also, I've heard a few people complaining about, why would the Shield even attack Randy Orton and Batista in the first place? Because they had no business in that match at all. The one that Randy Orton and Batista had against the Usos last night. But literally, from the very first time we saw the Shield, literally the very first time, Survivor Series 2012, they've been doing shit like this. Like, this is who the Shield is. These random, and this isn't exactly random, it had a meaning to it, but these out of nowhere beatdowns. And like I said earlier, this is their arrogance coming back to bite them in the ass.
No, it's not the same thing, Jay. They used to do that when they didn't have any direction as a faction before they actually had any sort of star power. They were just doing that to get out there and show some of the stuff that they could do then. They haven't done that in a really long time, any sort of random beatdowns of anybody that they weren't involved in. All this really did, I mean, if you step back and think about it, it wasn't a smart move at all, because all that you did in the end was ensure that Evolution would unite against you.
It was their arrogance. Like, they could have sat backstage and said, you know what? We can let them go on about their business. But they're like, you know what? They fucked with us.
But they didn't fuck with them.
But I mean, they came in the USO match, didn't they? Like, they started beating them up in the USO match.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe they were just helping the Usos. Like, they didn't want to get the Usos. Didn't want them to get their asses kicked again, like they did.
Hey, Roman Reigns, that's their cousin. He was just looking out for his family. So
yes,
it makes sense. He's like, I saw what you did to my cousins last week, so I'm gonna make sure that shit doesn't happen this week. So, bam, there we go. We figured it out.
Yeah, no, I'm calling bullshit on that one.
Look, shit, I will fully admit it was a plot device just to get from one point to the next, but with the Shield's history in WWE, it does make sense.
No, not buying it.
Well, there's like 300 episodes. Well, all right, that's a little too much. But there's hundreds of episodes of Raw each week, no repeats. I'll let them run away with this one. This isn't something like, you know, The Rock being beaten up by Vince McMahon and then being his best friend the next week.
See?
Oh no, I'm not. See, it's not a big deal to me. I'm not necessarily complaining
I was
about
saying C because earlier when I said that
Oh,
David complains about it. But
that was hilarious. Even worse because it was all a ruse. They were in and on the beginning, and he still let him beat him up.
That's hilarious.